Hello, I'm OG, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. Well, sometimes we have people on the show who are here for the first time. And it's good to have this gentleman who's on the show for the first time, right here on Speaking of Everything on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Well, he's an author. You're going to find out more about him. My guest on Speaking of Everything is Mr. Dwight Williams. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for having me on the show, Mr. Gibbs. This is my first time, so I'm pretty excited.
Well, good to have you on the show. It's not often we have a new person first time on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason I said because I've been focusing a lot on politics over the years.
Yeah.
This year I shifted a little bit,
Yeah.
doing something different, bringing different people like yourself and others, architects and so forth, highlighting more younger people. So we're happy to have you on the show.
Well, this is good for me. Well, I truly appreciate the opportunity. I just wrote my first book. I let it out a few weeks ago. So I think this is a really good place to talk about it. I mean, your show has been a show I've watched for so many years. We grew up watching the oral game show, so it's an honor.
It's amazing because that reminds me how old I'm because
that wasn't the intention.
No, don't worry. No. Everybody meet me this. They say, I grew up watching you.
Yeah, you grew up watching the show.
It's like yesterday I started. It started in 1984 with the television show, but it's still like yesterday.
And on Oral Give Lives, you'd have people call in, you hear the conversations, it sound like your aunt in the back there having a conversation. So, yeah, we grew up on this.
That's good. Your book, I can show it, The Disciplined Man, right?
Yes.
I'm going to come back to your book, but I want to ask you first because, in Simran, people like to know who people are and so forth. So you're Dwight Williams, and
yes.
Tell about yourself a little bit.
Dwight Williams, I think most folks might know me from banking. I worked in banking for quite a few years. But outside of banking, so I'm married for 20 years. I have two daughters. They're both in college right now in Holland. So 19,
time flies.
Yeah, 19 and 22. Uh-huh. So, I talk to them constantly, but they're two young ladies now. Yeah. So I'm dealing with, my wife and I, we're dealing with that kind of letting go.
Yeah.
But we spend a lot of time together, her and I. So we don't quite have the emptiness. But just to get back to me, so Dwight Williams, I have a bachelor's in accounting, and I've worked in finance most of my life. I currently work with a NRPB as an operations officer, as well as the manager of accounting department with Marine Management Consulting. Oh. So that's my full-time. That's my full-time jobs.
And you like it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love what I do.
Well,
I've always been blessed to work in places and with people that I really enjoy being around. I've never had a bad job.
So accounting is not boring then?
Not at all. Look at all that. No, accounting is I love it. I could do it all day.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, I really enjoy it, yeah.
That's good. So when you grew up in Simran?
Yeah, I grew up in Middle Region. Actually, I was born in Middle Region.
Okay.
So I think back in the day they would have the nurses come to your home.
Yeah.
So I was born in Middle Region.
You're born in the heartland. I call Middle Region.
Yeah.
The heartland of Simran.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Middle Region. So we born in Middle Region, and we moved to Maudry Post, and that Maudry Post is actually the name of my publishing company. And now my parents have a house in another Virgin Gorda in another area in Middle Region. I currently live in Colby though, but Middle Region is when I was born and grew up.
No, it's amazing because Simran is a small island.
Yeah.
I mean, here people say they grew up in Middle Region. The whole concept of Middle Region, for some people, is that it's a rough area. So today, maybe not in your times, but it's a very good. It's an area where many of the big families from Simran came from.
Yeah. I mean, I've grown up there. To us, it wasn't rough. I mean, there's always fights, and we always have what we call, little issues with the fellas from Colby and the fellas from town. And there were years where I wouldn't go to town alone. There were years where my father would tell me, don't go French Quarter.
Yeah.
So, we've had our years where we couldn't go to other districts because of, whatnot. But Middle Region was always home, and Middle Region was heaven. We just, you got home, and, Middle Region was the best place on the island.
It was good in a way because in those days, no one was pulling a gun and a knife.
None of that, no. You didn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
You may get beat up.
Yeah.
But you go back home, in a few days you go again. But that was the extent to it.
So you went to the U.S. to study?
Yeah, so I graduated, went to the MAC first, then I went to St. Academy. Then I did USM for 2 years, so I got my associates in general liberal arts at USM here.
How was it there?
That was good. I enjoyed my time at USM as well. Enjoyed my time. And then I moved to Fort Lauderdale, went to Florida Metropolitan University. I didn't stay too long there though. I consider myself a home cock, so I was itchy to come back home. So I doubled up on everything. I tested out where I could.
Yeah.
I studied extra, and I got my bachelor's in about 4 or 5 months short of what it should have taken. And I didn't even walk graduation.
Just want to come back home.
Yeah, no, and they came back in April, so I come back just in time for Carnival. So I told them, listen, this, I know I'm going to pass, so just mail me my diploma. I got my ring. At least I got something, and then I left. I didn't walk graduation. I didn't do graduation.
I'm thinking back about what you said there about myself. I did similar thing. I just took off, came back home. Didn't go for that graduation at all. To me, what was important is just getting
the degree.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're back in Cimarron. How long now since?
Oh, probably 21 years, 21, 22.
Yeah.
Because I'm married. I'm going to be married 20 years next year. So I met my wife shortly after returning. So I'm probably back about 22 years.
Yeah. When you look at Cimarron today, are you surprised seeing so many young people who complain that they can't find a job or they're not happy with what they're doing? How you see that as a young person?
I think it's a lot of different factors. I think there are instances where it is truly challenging. So I have to be careful how I say this, right? Because I tend to have this disagreement with a lot of my peers and a lot of people I have this conversation with. I learned to take responsibility of everything. So if I walk outside right now and I get hit by a car, I made a decision to walk outside. I made a decision to walk that particular area. So I have some responsibility for getting hit to that car. So it's a type of extreme ownership I've adopted over the past few years. I don't think it's fair all the time, but it's just the way I try to live my life. So if something happened between me and my wife, I try to see where was I responsible. If something happened to my daughter, what could I have done better? And so if you come back to it in general with our community, I think there's a lot needed from our community. There is opportunity. I think there's a lot our politicians can do. There's more politicians can do. There's more business owners could do. I think too often, especially the businesses are led by strictly just profit. They're so high in capitalism and making as much as they can and giving back as little as they can. So I see a lot of that. But I think ultimately, we as individuals, every individual has to be mindful of the decisions they make every single day. Because there's absolutely no way you can tell me that something didn't work for you,
right,
but you're still waking up at 8 or 9 in the morning, or you're still staying out late at night, or you're still doing certain things.
Right.
So despite how challenging the environment might have been, you are an active contributor to it continue to be difficult. Because you could make decisions that could affect, even in a challenging situation, you could make a decision that could make your personal situation a lot easier. Okay. You could profit, even in the worst situations, you could profit from. You could find out, so what can I sell now that everybody who's suffering needs? They probably need a book. Yeah. Probably that's why I came up with the idea of a book. Right. So everybody's suffering right now. What do they need? Let's write a book.
But when you came back, did you get a job right away, or it took you some time?
I did. I did, but I didn't come back necessarily looking for a accounting job. I came back looking for a job. Oh. I grew up in a house where, we didn't have that much. I just needed to get a job to get paid. And so my first job interview was at the Royal Palm to be front desk.
Yeah.
So I came back with a bachelor's degree, and my first interview was at front desk. And I remember having the interview with the lady, and she enjoyed the interview. The interview was probably 45 minutes or hour long.
Wow,
and at the end of the interview, she tells me, "Yeah, but it doesn't really make sense for us to hire you." At the interview, she tells me that it doesn't really make sense for us to hire you because you're not going to stay. So if I could think of anything for you, I'll keep your information and I'll pass it on.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense for me to hire you. And she didn't hire me. And then I went over to DHL, and then I got a job at DHL. So I probably had a job within a few weeks of coming back home. And so that job was accounting, light accounting, more administration and bookkeeping. But that was more of whatever I got, I was ready to take.
Right. So, and I think what I like about what you said was the individual responsibility. Too often we don't have that.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem for many of us at times.
Yeah. And so it's I went to Tony Robbins, and he said it's not necessarily a case of resources. It's most often a case of resources. So you being able to use whatever resources you do have, resourcefulness,
Yeah.
So you may have a little, but what can you do with that little? And then can you add on that over time goes by, you're adding it. But if you just throw your hands up and say, well, things are rough here and they didn't treat me right, and then you just, accept that, then your life is pretty much, that's going to be it.
You're right. And I think the attitude makes a lot of difference. I remember as a young man, I just go out and do what I had to do.
Yeah.
If I got a rejection, it was never personal.
Yeah.
So.
And that's it right in the head. And I think I had to learn that even later on in life, even though I had an attitude, a belief that I could, I should pursue, and but you still take some things. I think I still do to some extent. But then I catch myself and say, no, this ain't about you, Dwight. Don't take this personal. This is, you don't even know what a person is going through. You don't know. So you've got to just take everything, look at it very objective, as much as you can, objectively, and do your best. That's all you got.
Exactly. In case you've just joined us, I'm watching here with Mr. Dwight Williams. Mr. Dwight Williams written his first book entitled The Disciplined Man. And we're going to speak with him about that and a lot more. Not many people write books these days.
Yeah.
We're not a reading society.
Yeah. And so if you look at the book, this book is 208 pages. But the intention was to be 105 pages because it's for men. It's primarily for men.
Oh, so for men.
Primarily.
Okay, good.
Right?
Okay.
Men, even less than women, men don't like to read. So
that's true.
If I figured if I brought out a book that was too long, the guys wouldn't read it. But it still turned out to be much longer than I wanted. My next book is going to be shorter because I wanted to create something that is helpful and purposeful and actually used. Because just to say you wrote a book, who cares? Who cares you wrote a book, so what? But if you could help people, if you could actually do something that is helpful, that is useful, as somebody, so a friend of mine, he messaged me, he said, our other friend said that he's doing push-ups every morning now because of your book. I'm like, okay, good. That's what I want to hear.
That's good. I'll tell you what, I got to go to a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to continue on your book, all right?
Okay, good.
In case you've just joined us, I'm here with Mr. Dwight Williams, his author, and we're going to speak with him about this book and a lot more right here on Speaking About Everything on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio.
We are vibrant, expressive, warm, and diverse. Together, we conquer, and now we expand into new horizons, giving you more of the best. Introducing our new Bankomatico Plus with wider acceptance, purchase protection, and enhanced security. Whether you're online, traveling, or in paradise, experience more with Windward Island Bank. Bankomatico Plus. More of the best.
My guest is Mr. Dwight Williams. You see him right here. He's with us here and Speaking of Everything. And sometimes I'm going to say Dwayne instead of Dwight. And then you told me before we started the show that you have a brother named
That's my brother's name. Okay. So I answered the word. It doesn't matter.
So the book, The Disciplined Man. A lot of men are not disciplined.
Maybe not. We all certainly have the potential to be, though. And I think it isn't necessarily. So I did a video on it the other day. We don't necessarily need to be super disciplined. We just need to choose a few things that move the needle
Yeah.
and work on those few things. And over time, you get better. So if your challenge right now is waking up on time, then focus on that. That's the only thing you focus on for the next 3 months. You want to get better and waking up a little earlier. And over time, and if you accomplish that, over time you add in it. And the book has a lot of ideas of how to work your way into building a more disciplined life. But over time you'll get there, because I have a saying that I tell a lot of folks, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you start to take action, small pieces, eventually you maintain it, you be consistent in it. Life isn't a sprint, it's a marathon.
Let me ask you, what do you think about waking up early?
So I don't think it's for every single one. I used to believe if you don't wake up early, you're just lazy. But then I realize we build differently. All of us has a circadian rhythm where we at some point our evening melatonin starts to kick in, and we start to slow down. But there are some folks that just do really well at night. They're just more productive at night, and they get more done at night. So if you're one of those folks, I don't think you should force yourself to be a morning person. But I think for majority of us, I think we are more morning people. And so I think if you could get up early and get some of the important things done. So I'm up, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been getting up at 4 in the morning. My wife traveled to Holland a few months ago, and I started to get up 3:30 because I figured she wasn't here. I could go sleep early at night now, because at night we spend time together. That's our time we talk and we read together and we meditate, and that's our intimate time together. So I figured she's not here, I could go sleep even earlier now, and the earlier I go to sleep, the less of chance of me wanting to go out or do anything. So let me get up early, get tired by 8 o'clock, be in bed by 8 o'clock. And so I started to get up 3:30, and I wrote a second book in the 5 weeks that she was off island. I was just pouring it out. So you get in the morning, at that time it's quiet. Nobody's up. It's you, your thoughts, whatever you're inputting, whatever you're putting out. It's I think it's like the golden time of the day.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. And I was reading a book on most successful people, and most of them wake up early.
Yeah.
They don't get up at 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I know about 2 successful people that wakes up at 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's amazing how
Yeah.
personally,
Yeah.
But as a St. Martin, how you see success, and what you see as success? The reason I ask that is because a lot of people think being a millionaire is a success.
Yeah, I love that question because I think it's so objective. And for me, so at some point, so I ride motorbike for years, and at some point, when I left the bank, because I wanted a certain amount of freedom, and I started working for another company, and I remember leaving, my daughter calling me about 12, flushed in the middle of the day. She needed me to pick her up from school. And I just said, okay, I'm coming for you now. And my ability to not have to ask anyone for permission and to go take care of my child, I felt such a high level of appreciation. And I said, okay, this is what success is. Success isn't about having millions of dollars or a fancy car. Success for me was the having my independence. And of course that means having some money, because if I wanted to start working for the rest of the day, I could have as well, because I do have enough money. But it's enough, it's not, and I aspire to be a millionaire. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But becoming a millionaire is not what's going to define me or what I consider success. I consider myself right now, because of the relationships I have, because of the life I live, because of my health, I consider myself pretty successful.
And that's good, because a lot of people in St. Martin focus on the glitzy thing. The thing that if you're a millionaire, you're going to be happy. Not necessarily true.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think it's far from the truth. Yeah. I think, there's a saying, more money, more problems. But I think I'm not so much of a believer in balance, because I believe life has seasons. So there are seasons of like really extreme levels of work, and there are times of just a lot of play. There are times of some rest as well, and there are times of of training, and it's that way with our bodies. It's that way. So there are times I'm a bit chubbier. There are times I'm really lean. So I think, it's ebbs and flows, and just like our earth itself has seasons, it rotates and it has seasons, and it's time for cold. And so I think we as individuals, we have to experience that as well, and be very understanding and accepting to that. But to just be one-sided and just feel that financial wealth is the end-all be-all, I don't think so.
So the disciplined man, what else do you think is important in this book that men should know? Because you said you're focusing on men, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I find one of the reasons I decided to write this book and my next book, the other book that I'm going to bring out in a few months, is I found that there were years where society spent a lot of time concentrating on women, women's strength, the independent woman, women this, women that, and I have 2 daughters. I have a wife that I damn near worship the ground she work on. My mother-in-law is, my mother-in-law and mother. I love all the women around me. I have really, really good women around me.
But a lot of powerful ladies.
A lot of powerful women around me.
Intelligent.
And I'm good with them. I truly respect everything about them. So I'm not taking away from women at all. But I think men needs their place as well. We can't so lopsidedly focus on one gender and the other gender just seems to fall off. The men have been committing suicide 3 times as much as women. 4 to 1 men commit suicide. The young guys feel like they're not being paid attention to. I mean, Trump actually won in large, he won the election because, he just gave some attention and he spoke a bit of a language of the young men, and they felt, okay, somebody's paying attention to us. So I felt that we needed something for the men. And instead of me looking around and see who's going to do it, I said, let me put something together for the men. Because I feel like with strong men, you have a strong society. With weak men, men that can't make decisions, men that aren't willing to do the work, men that, that current, men that stay indoors playing game all day, our society crumbles. I remember they say, we need strong, independent women. And then I realized I have 2 daughters, but what men are they? Who are they going to date now?
No, you're talking.
Like, who are they going to? So we're making these strong, powerful, independent women, but who are they going to partner up with?
And that's the issue I see today. I have 3 daughters. And the thing is that I look around the island and I see men, today they're weak.
Weak?
Very weak.
Then there's no other word to use.
So I'm happy that you have this book, The Disciplined Man, because discipline is very crucial to anyone's person.
And you see the words I use, right? The path to power, purpose, and peace. It's not just about power. Purpose, I think, is probably the most impactful, because I think once you find purpose, you'll find power and peace in it, because it's no longer about trying to hold anyone down. It's no longer about trying to fall. It's just about you contributing to your society in something that's very natural to you. And when it's natural to you, I think that's what God placed us here, all as individuals with particular gifts. And if I could develop my gift, there's nobody on earth that could provide my gift like me. And if I could learn to develop my gift and give it to society, it's a blessing to society. And then everybody.
When you look at power can cut both ways.
It can.
The reason I say that because I had an incident the other day and someone came here and had a terrible problem. So I said, you want me to make a call for you? They said, okay. I made a call and got someone to speak with them that could not speak with them without that phone call that I made. So I see power as the ability to make things happen, but at the same time, those things that happen can be negative or positive.
Indeed. So I do jiu-jitsu as well, which is Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay.
And Jordan Peterson says, that there are men who are dangerous, that the men should be dangerous, because a dangerous man has the option to or not to. And I guarantee, usually, when you know yourself, you don't have the need to exert unnecessary power or to hurt others, because you're very confident. Usually people that hurt others or because they're dealing with something themselves. So I think once you could get to that place of feeling comfortable and strong, and especially the young guys, if they start to feel comfortable in themselves, they're not going to be out there doing the foolishness they're doing.
Yeah.
If they feel that they're loved, that there's a purpose, that they're special, they're not going to seek that unnecessary attention.
But we mentioned purpose now, so you got power and then you have purpose.
Yeah.
Purpose sometimes it's kind of evasive at times for people.
Very, because I believe we often don't ask ourselves those questions. We kind of just go along and get along, and if I get this opportunity, I take it. If not, and it's too often we just let life happen to us. What I think and what was necessary for me at some point in my life is to ask myself the questions. What do I really enjoy? What do I not enjoy? Where do I want to be? Ask yourself those challenging questions. What are the things that I feel good about doing? What are the things that bother me? And get to know yourself as a man. Once you get to know yourself as a man, you'll find yourself drifting in the direction that makes you happy, content, and doesn't negatively affect anyone else. So I think purpose it comes down to us sitting and asking yourself questions. And I spend a lot of years trying to meditate, to understand meditation. Because when you sit quiet, the brain starts to go off, and you start to ask yourself a lot of. You have this whole long internal dialogue, but the more you do it, the more that dialogue kind of comes, and it goes more to a place of better understanding and purpose, and it leads you to the right place. Yeah. But if you keep avoiding those questions, and you keep turning to music and to external all the time, you're always finding something games, you're always finding something external to lean on, then you're gonna be lost.
So this is kind of a tricky question: purpose or power, which you think is more important? Purpose. And then you also have power, purpose, and then you mentioned peace.
Yeah, that's what all men want.
The older you get, I'm sure.
I think all men, even if we're not sure about it, even up to your wife, you want her to be at peace. It comes down to us having that place to exhale and just, so no matter what we went through during the day, we want that place, and sometimes physically, sometimes but we want that place and that time where we just. And if as an individual you're able to somehow gather it up yourself, you don't need it you don't need it from even your wife, because you're able to have a certain conversation where and you're able to breathe and just calm yourself. That's ideal.
But you find that as you get older, you look forward to peace more than when you were younger?
A lot more.
Yeah.
I remember I saw my wife and my mother. My mother was on the porch just sitting chill. I go, Mommy, aren't you bored? You're not doing anything, you're not bored? She said, no, I'm really happy right now. And I couldn't understand it. You're just sitting, you're not doing anything. And she was happy. And I couldn't understand, but no, I understand it. So I read a lot. And Sunday mornings, I put out a coffee, put my book, put my foot up. And that is, I can't explain how much I love that. That is to me, like going to Coney Island. Just sitting and reading, listen to the birds chirp. It's like going to you can't explain that to people, especially younger ones. Yeah. You can't explain that to a younger guy, because he wouldn't understand that.
I understand what you're saying, because as a young guy, I used to sit walking Mother Bay. I was telling you before we started the show, and I used to go to the beach before we start the evening as a bus boy, and I'll sit down on Mother Bay Beach looking at the sunset.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. And then the guy said, "Look, Oral gives down the he crazy." Because
you're ahead of your time though.
Yeah, I see. So that was different. And now, fast forward today now, I have this beautiful home overlooking the pond and the ocean, and I just hang out there. Every day looks different to me. Yeah. Every day it's beautiful.
Special.
But for my children, they don't care.
Yeah.
That's me, and I think it's important when you can do that. If you can just sit alone, admire nature. You don't find that many people at all.
Yeah. So I think it's also.
And your mother have that.
Yeah, we didn't have quite that much of a view, but she was happy. She would sit and just. And I couldn't understand, but now I do.
Yeah.
And I think it comes with a certain level of content, and I think even that, like I would tell people that I don't go to church. I'm not a believer in religion much, Christianity. I'm a strong believer in God. I'd sit and pray, and I would tell folks that I would worship and show God my praise to Him in my work. If I'm training, I'm thinking about, I'm giving thanks for the ability to, and I think at some point in your life, if, hopefully we all get it where we could, we see the blessings in everything. You see the blessing in being able to walk. You see the blessing in being able to get up in the morning, walk to the fridge, just drink water from the fridge, open the pipe. These are things that be taken for granted.
Yeah.
But they're really, really, really special
Until
things.
you lose the ability.
Until you lose, then But we have them, we take them for granted. So, like my wife and I, we try to practice gratitude as much as possible. And we have a really happy life because of that. Because we're able to see the good in the, the more minutiae things.
Because some people only pray when they have a problem.
You have a problem. And my prayers now are thanking God. And I know the rough days are going to come. Because that's just a cycle. Rough days always come. I'm actually going through a bit of a rough patch now with some things that are changing that I didn't really plan for.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to come. So I'm not going to look at it and say, oh God, why am I going through that? No, I'm going to learn something from this.
It makes you a better, stronger person.
Yeah.
Can you imagine life without any problem?
No, we'll find a problem. If we have a patch that is going too good, human nature, we'll figure something to mess it up to give us a little challenge.
Yeah, but it's tough. It's demanding because you look around this island and you see all this wealth in this kid, and everybody wants to be somebody.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, people appreciate being respected and everything else.
Yeah.
And they look around and see people having the biggest, fanciest cars and having a great time. And they look at themselves and so I'm here sitting down, I can't find a job, or I have this problem. Yeah. And what you said earlier at the beginning of the show, the individual, you just sit down, do nothing, then nothing is going to happen.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think, every now and again, I'm a human, you look around and you realize, who's driving all these big cars, who's having all these big buildings, and who seems to be having the most wealth on the island. And I'm not always happy about that. I could tell you I'm not always happy about that as somebody who's born and raised, because I often feel, I think everybody deserves what they have, one way or the other. And I don't think it's my place to judge what you have, because I wasn't there when you got it. I don't know what you went through to get it. But what bothers me is when I feel that people don't give back to the island, and when they don't do for the island, because the island has done for you. Exactly. You're doing well, the island has done for you. So give back to the island. Help some of the foundations. Like for the past 15 years, my wife and I have been close to Ujima Foundation, because it's young boys, in challenging situations. So every Sunday now, I run up to the Ujima, I train the boys for about 30, 45 minutes, and then I go back home. And that's kind of my contribution towards them. That's what I have, so that's what I can give. But, if others have wealth, give back.
You also donate some proceeds from your book.
So the book was launched on September, I think it was the 17th. So between 17th and the end of this month, all the profits are going to be donated to the Ujima home. All profit. I mean, it really don't want to make much of a difference in my life. Yeah. But with those boys, it's going to.
But it's important because when you give, you get back.
For sure. No doubt.
And I give without looking to get back anything. I give monetary and whatever. I don't stand up in the newspaper holding it and show it, because that's not important. Yeah. The important thing is that you give back to the place you came from.
My hair's just standing because it's so exactly what you say. It's just so important. And I look at it a few ways. One is helping young men, but realize we can't. These are boys now, and they're gonna grow to young men. And you don't want to wait till they grow to young men. Never got love, never got support, and then you hear about all this crime, and you wonder who's committing crime. But it's these young boys we could have helped many years ago. Yeah. So it's also an investment in our safeties, an investment in our countries, an investment in the boys' lives. There's so much benefits to helping these kids.
It's very important. Very important. You you do live with weightlifting, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How many times a week do you do that?
I train every day of the week.
Every day?
And Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, I train twice a week, twice a day. But it's important. It's my hobby, so it's not like I'm not really weightlifting. I'm doing something fun.
You love it. That's important. Yeah. And I was saying I have a brother. He's 84 years old.
Yeah.
And he's still at 84. He still does a little weightlifting.
Yeah.
I used to imitate him as a little boy, you know, my little weights, and he made weights from empty cans, fill them with cement.
Yeah.
So they, it's more sophisticated, but it's important, though. I think.
Yeah. So Saturdays, I dedicate Saturdays. I call it the old man workouts.
Yeah.
So on Saturdays, I would do things that would like imitate getting off a toilet. So I would sit and stand up. Or with weights, or walk up a step with weights. So I do the things that I know as we get older, we get weaker in.
Yeah.
So I'm already starting to prepare myself for when I'm 80.
When you get there.
Yeah.
What do your wife think about weightlifting?
She does it as well.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife is very involved, and you can see she's she has that. My wife maintains a very feminine but strong look, which is really good. So make sure she stays healthy. So she takes it very serious. Yeah,
it's good because if you're alone doing it, it's not as much fun as when both of you are.
Involved. Yeah, it's a lifestyle. Yeah. So it's easier in the house. The things we buy to eat, the way we eat.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and your daughters, they're into it too?
Not as much. They're both into art. So Chantal started a gym a few days ago. She messaged me, said, "Daddy, send me a workout." So I sent them to her. So she told me she started a gym. Khalifa is really busy because she has school and she has a job.
Okay.
So she's but this is her last year in school, and then she'll get to go more into work, and then she'll get back more into her fitness.
Weightlifting to give you patience.
Yeah.
You can't run through. It's not like running.
And the results don't come immediately. So you gotta take your time. Yeah. You gotta humble. Mm-hmm. You gotta show up when you're not seeing any results. And
so you got your own gym, or you go out to the gym?
I go to Puerto Plaza.
Oh.
I mean, we also have a gym at home. I go to Puerto Plaza because I like the the communion.
Yeah.
But we do have our own weights at home. So like during the pandemic, I was in the gym all the time.
You find more people in Simradin getting into
definitely. I'm seeing a lot more different age groups. I think people are seeing the value and the benefits of it. It isn't just about physical. It isn't just about how you physically look, but it's how about you feel, the health aspects of it, the longevity of it, those benefits. So, even during COVID, they say the folks that were healthier, were able to better fend off,
right?
The what was going on. So it's just a much better lifestyle.
So your book, the Disciplined Man, Path to Power, Purpose, and Peace. Where can purchase the book?
For now, I have it on Amazon because I was trying to get as many people as possible to buy it on Amazon so they could give me reviews so that I could get international sales. I had a guy tell me yesterday, he said when he saw the book, he said, most people who write books locally, they write about culture, history, something local. Yeah. He said, but you didn't write a local book, you wrote a book.
Universal, actually.
Yeah, I said that was the idea. The idea was to help men everywhere. Of course, you start home.
Right.
But you want to help men everywhere. And so it's on Amazon now, but I have a few copies coming, and then I'm also going to put a few copies at Van Dorp, and I'll put a few copies at my at a friend's place. So I'll have over the next coming months, I'll be announcing where I have places. But for now, so if people want to follow me, I am on Instagram.
Okay.
So it's Dwight on Discipline. Like I said, Discipline Man.
Okay.
So it's Dwight on Discipline on Instagram.
All right, it's good. I mean, sometimes I look back and I feel so sorry for men in Simran today because they're getting blows from everywhere.
Every side.
And women are so disappointed.
Nobody feels for us,
Yeah.
Nobody feels for us.
And when you hear women talk about men today, I had a young lady here. I'm not going to call her name. She sat in a chair, and I heard her rattle off, and I said, "Oh my God, Lord. She sound like my daughters, you know.
Yeah.
They're all sound the same now, but
Yeah.
men, we have become like big
Yeah.
failures,
Yeah.
and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Because women need men and men need women.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I don't think it's the end of it. I mean, we don't have a choice. We've got to figure this out. I used to ask the question, whose fault is it? Is it the men's fault? Is it the women's fault? Are the women accepting men that are weak, and then so you just keep producing more weak men? I don't know whose fault it is, but we need to turn the curve now.
Well, I think you're on the path of doing, you're sharing that, and that's good.
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah. So, Mr. Williams, I want to thank you and wish you much success.
Thank you very much. This went so fast, much faster. I was so nervous, and it went smooth. So I really appreciate the invite. I really appreciate being here. I'm on the Oral Game show, so that is a big thing for me. And so thank you very much for having me.
And thank you for coming. And this won't be your first and last time, all right?
Okay, good.
All the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right.
And that's it for now on Speaking of Our I'm Oral Gibbs. See you next time on YouTube, Facebook, and on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Take care. Bye.